The Sony A7S III overheats. Would you believe me if I told you that on my very first video shoot with the A7S II, it overheated on me? Well, in its defense, there was a lot going on, and here's the story. I was using my normal gimbal setup, which is the DJI RS3 Pro Tilta Advanced Ring, powered by a Core SWX 150 Wh battery, and monitoring with a Portkeys HS7T. And the camera was also being charged via USB-C through the advanced ring. The camera was also dual recording to CF Express Type A cards. I had the monitor set to sunny mode, and I also had it extended out as well, so there wasn't as much heat going onto the camera. And I also had Bluetooth enabled so the Tilta Advanced Ring could communicate with the camera when I hit record. Now, the moment that the camera overheated, I was recording long interviews with 4K 50p shooting in XAVC HS. Now, the reason that I was shooting in 50p when I would normally shoot 25p for interviews that are going longer than 5 or 10 minutes is because I was wanting to have that higher compressed codec that Sony has in these cameras. And unfortunately, for some reason in PAL, you can only record in 50p and 100p. So I would normally record in 25p, but with the limitation there with that codec, I had to do 50p. And you might be thinking, well, why didn't you just record in XAVC S? Well, that's what I normally do when I'm shooting interviews. However, with this project, I was shooting for an editor that is interstate. So all the footage needed to be uploaded to the internet and then sent off to them. Normally when I'm recording for other clients, I just put all the footage onto an SSD and hand it over. But in this case, all the footage needed to be uploaded, and I wanted to reduce the file sizes as much as possible. Now, in the moments leading up to the A7S II overheating, I noticed a strange icon that I had never really seen before on my A7S3 or my A7R5, and that was the overheating icon. There was a picture of a thermometer with an arrow pointing up. And the moment I saw that, anxiety set in because I realized that the A7S II could potentially overheat. And that's something that I've never really had to deal with my FX6, my A7S3, or my A7R5. I'd been shooting for about an hour, and it was about the 10-minute mark on one of these interviews that the camera just powered down and stopped. Fortunately for me, the clip stopped in between questions, so we didn't lose any content. It was just a little bit of an awkward pause because I had to put the camera down and say, sorry, the camera has overheated. I need to restart the camera. In hindsight, I probably shouldn't have said that the camera overheated, because if you were a producer on set and you heard that the camera overheated, that probably wouldn't have given you much confidence. Fortunately, I was able to get the camera back up and running. All I had to do was turn the camera off, turn it back on, and then change it from the XAVC HS codec in 50p to XAVC S and 25p. So once I put the camera in 25p, I didn't have any more problems with overheating. Later in that shoot, I had to go back to 50p because we were shooting B-roll, and then I noticed that icon pop up again. And it was about the 7-minute mark on one of the B-roll things that we were recording that it popped up, and anxiety sat in again. And I was thinking, oh no, is this going to overheat again? And these are the feelings that you don't want to have on set when you're recording for a client. You don't want to have anxiety setting in, seeing that little temperature icon pointing up saying that the camera could potentially overheat any moment. And I was shocked that that was my first experience with the A7S II on a professional video shoot. I had no idea that the camera would overheat. From all my research, I just assumed that the camera would be rock solid, just like my A7S3. I do know that the A7 IV suffers from overheating. I used to own an A7 IV and it only overheated on me once. And the reason the A7 IV overheated was because the auto power off temp was set to standard instead of high. And you might be thinking, well, did you have your auto power off temp set to high or standard? And I did have it set to high, and for some reason it still overheated and shut down. Fortunately, the file didn't corrupt, and all the footage was there from that clip that was being recorded when it shut down, but it was really inconvenient. So unfortunately, that was my first experience with the A7S II when using it on a professional video shoot. And there's one other deal breaker that I've discovered since using this camera, and I'm gonna share that with you in a future video. So if you aren't subscribed yet, please hit subscribe and then you won't miss out on that video. Thanks for watching.